Hey guys, Marcin here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we're going to be taking a look at the STR Rose with his EZA against the Metal Cooler Core. Now, this one's going to be interesting because obviously Rose has type advantage over the Core when we get to the last phase. However, as we've seen with some of the videos that we've done using him already, checking him out in some different events, he very much needs that finishing blow, I think, in order to be, well, he obviously needs it to be his most effective, but I feel like he absolutely needs it if you're going to be going up against any of the more difficult bosses in the game. So it'll be interesting to see how well he performs against the Core, considering he literally can't get that finishing blow passive, because you can't actually KO the Metal Cooler army in this first phase. You just have to fight them for 3 turns, and there's nothing else you can do. And then you move on to the Core, and obviously if you get a finishing blow on him, you've won the event, right? So Rose literally cannot get that part of his passive active in this fight. So it's more of a test just to see how good he is with just the type advantage against the boss. But yeah, this STR World Tournament Goku Black, definitely going to be a bit of a liability. Very glad that he did not take a super. I brought him because, as I've discussed probably a million times now in these different Rose videos, that Rose just does not have a really good team or like a really good home at the moment. And so the Vegeta and Trunks team is probably the best team to run him on, solely based on how powerful the rest of the team around him is. The only problem, obviously, then, is that that team is pretty much entirely consistent of Super-type characters. And whilst it is full of Saiyans, so he can get links like Prepared for Battle, Super Saiyan, obviously shares Prepared for Battle with a lot of units. He has links like Big Bad Bosses, which are obviously very important for some of these extreme units. Like, there is the difference between, against some of these tougher bosses, even without having support, just from having that one link. There are extreme units that it'll be the difference between tanking normal attacks from some of these red zone bosses for, like, you know, 30 to 20k to double digits if they have Big Bad Bosses active. So it can make a significant difference. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he's looking like against the Core. On the turn where we don't have Big Bad Bosses, well, the turns, right, because the only unit that's going to give it to us is the World Tournament Goku Black floating in slot 3, so we're only going to get 1 turn out of every, like, 3 turn sets, right, where we actually get them linked up together. Now, on that turn, I imagine Rose will still look pretty decent, but I think it's pretty obvious that this whole video, like I say, is just to kind of test out and see what he looks like in this event. But he's absolutely not a unit that I would bring into the event, right? You know, if I'm making my team and picking some top picks, it's not going to include him. So, alright, so we probably are going to end up getting the revival this turn, unless Carnival Goku just doesn't get super attacked, I guess. But let's see. Do this, get the extra defense for God Goku as well. This will be the final turn against the Core. So the good thing about these showcases, a lot of the time when I want to try out a unit, whether it's just for screenshots for like Twitter or if it's for a video, if I want to see how well a particular unit does against the Metal Cooler Core, I'm not adverse to using items against this first stage just to make sure we actually get to the Core. Because the fact that the army can double super, and I've talked about this in the past, like, because you cannot kill them off early, there's no way to protect units like there are for other teams. Like, other teams with other strategies, you know, teams where you bring units like Pycon for the Ghost Usher and stuff like that, where you float these units off after they've served their purpose, and then in some of the stages you can obviously finish off the boss before they get attacked in slot 3, which you can't do against the Metal Cooler army because you can't finish them off. So you have to be careful about bringing units who could potentially be a liability against them, especially, as we say, because they can double super. So this, I can see the argument for Metal Cooler Core being the hardest boss, right? It's pretty much down to Metal Cooler Core or Broly. Broly comes down to the AoE phase being so annoying, but if you're not someone who cares about no item runs, then obviously you just go for the double Whis strategy. But yeah, so 230k defense, that's with big bad bosses, and Goku Black, the World Tournament one, he's giving 20% support for defense. He gives 40% attack, 20% defense. Now remember, Rose does greatly raise defense on his super attack effect, which is a 50% raise, but that means he's only going up to what, 345, which is not the best against some of these tougher bosses. So I do want to see what he looks like here. I don't want the STR Goku Black to get crushed either. He greatly raises defense on super. I think I might just use the active skill here for Vegeta and Trunks, so we get the extra defensive buff for all allies. I do like the fact that it's all allies and not just super, right? Because then you can mix and match. So that puts him up to 277. Not exactly the craziest jump, but that means he's now going up to just over 400k after supering, which is pretty decent. So let's do this. We definitely could still die this turn. I think if either of the Goku Blacks, like I could use another item, but the whole point is I want to see, I say another item, an item on top of the active skill. But the whole point is I want to see how well Rose can actually like take hits and stuff against the core, right? So using a Whis kind of seems like a waste of time for that objective. We just survived the super on Trunks and Vegeta. Very unfortunate when they get super attacked by the core before they've supered, because the amount of damage that we would take is significantly less. So I'm pretty sure we're not living this turn, even though both the Goku Blacks have type advantage, but we shall see. The Metal Cooler core can't double super you, so at least there's that. But what kind of damage is he going to take? Because like I say, he's going to have around 400k defense, 6.2 million on the attack. I mean, that's not terrible. It's just not great, right? Which is why you would want the units to get that, or you would want Rose to get that finishing blow in most instances. So he only took a couple of thousand damage from the normal attack, but then STR Goku Black taking 80k. So let's hop back in and try and get at least one more turn with him. Okay, so we are back on a turn against the core, the first turn in fact. I did bring the same team build. I realised that the STR Goku Black is obviously not the best choice, but we can always use an item when we get the rotation with the two of them together. But this is obviously the scenario that I was discussing earlier, that puts Rose at his weakest point, right? Where we don't have big bad bosses active. We have Dismal Future from Trunks and Vegeta, which is 2 key and a little bit of extra crit chance. But Rose doesn't really need key. Having prepared for battle and the fact that he is a 3 key supporter himself. But I didn't bring the menu up there, but he only has 170k defense at the start of the turn, which means post super attack he's only going to be at around like 250 after he super attacks. So I'm hoping that the core only does a normal attack against him. Yeah, see, 4.25. This is when the unit is just not going to look impressive, right? Like when you don't get that finishing blow, when you don't have big bad bosses active. So he takes 30k from a normal attack. So I think the next rotation is where we have him with the World Tournament Goku Black again. So, oh no, he's on this one. So chances are we might not actually even get a rotation of them together again. I think what I'll do, Trunks and Vegeta still have their guard. So I think if I use this, obviously the next turn that Rose is on rotation, he's going to have that effect. So it's not like we're going to see anything too crazy out of him, but it means we can kind of definitely survive until we get the World Tournament Goku Black back again. So God Goku with the Whis active is obviously not going to take that much damage from this. Yeah, 11 damage. I think actually with God Goku, the fact that he has 77% damage reduction, if you use a damage reduction item, then he just can't take damage, right? Because he has over 100% damage reduction. Still kind of funny that they still do double digits, even though technically they should do 0 if you have 100% damage reduction. Although, I'm trying to think, because in events where you can stack, like, units, you know, like if you do the Bojack or one of the Broly Dokkan events where you have, like, an unkillable enemy, and you can stack your defense up to being, like, you know, like 6 million or something, you still take double-digit damage rather than nothing, which, obviously, that's just a thing of the game. I don't know why it works like that, but it does. Alright, so with the Whis active... Actually, no, I guess I will just transform with them. I was going to say, probably don't need to transform and could get that extra stack, but it probably makes sense just to transform anyway, right? So we can get the... whatchamacallit, the action nullification, as well as the fact that they massively raise defense on their 18 key super and then greatly raise defense on their 12 key super, which they get a guaranteed additional for. Like the gods, obviously the gods have the dodge, Gogeta has the damage reduction and the potential for a super attack counter, but both of them, like if they get their 18 key and an additional 12 key super, even against like Cell Max, they'll tank normal attacks for double digits. So they do get a significant defense increase when you get their transformed super attacks off. So I think that works out the best here. We should be looking good because we still have the Whis active this turn anyway, so it's not like we need to worry about taking damage. I just want to see the next rotation where we have the Goku Black and the Rose again. I mean, we saw one rotation of that already, so if we somehow manage to die before we get to that point, it's not the end of the world. Because what was it in that first clip? Rose tanked for like a couple of thousand. And then we saw on the previous turn where we had him in slot 2 and Carnival Goku in slot 3, it was what, 30k from a normal attack? Now, as I said at the beginning, a top tier... Actually, I might have been talking about that in the Vegeta and Trunks Cell Max video. I forget, I've recorded a bunch of videos in one go today, but a top tier unit, whether they, like a unit that to be considered top tier, I should say, I would expect a unit with type advantage to not be taking more than like 20k, right, against some of these more difficult bosses. So Rose, obviously we can tell from that kind of damage that he's taking on that turn, he took 30k. That's the combination of no finishing blow buff from his passive and no big bad bosses. Like we've already seen, big bad bosses makes a pretty significant difference, because that World Tournament Goku Black, he is giving 20% extra defense as well. But big bad bosses, obviously 25% extra attack and defense. And then, of course, Rose's 50% defense raise, you know, with all of that factored in, it's obviously putting him in a much better position. So, yeah, I think this will probably be the last video where we just do, a showcase solely focusing on Rose. But, yeah, I think my opinion of him hasn't really changed from the initial showcases. Like, if you get his finishing blow, I think he can be really, really good, especially in the future, because comparing him to Tech Vegito Blue, all of the performance that we've seen so far has been him on a 170 team with like subpar, like not meta support units. So I think let's go ahead and... I want to see if World Tournament Goku Black survives, because we've already seen this rotation in the previous clip. So we know normal attacks, Rose is going to take only a couple of thousand damage. So I'm going to go ahead and do this so that we get the defensive buff for both of these Goku Blacks here as well. And then... yeah, actually, wait, did I do that the first time around as well? No, I don't think I did, right? So let's go ahead and do this. The World Tournament Goku Black greatly raises attack and defense on Super as well. Imagine if Rose greatly raised attack and defense on Super. Well, I guess technically he does raise attack because he buffs all Extreme Class allies attack on Super, which I'm pretty sure that buff applies to him. So if he double Supers, I believe the second Super attack should do more damage, right? But I mean, he's not really a slot 1 unit, so it is kind of a strange ability for him to have. But yeah, I wonder, will he tank for double digits now with the buff from Vegeta and Trunks' active skill and the support from the World Tournament Goku Black? Let's see. Yeah, he does. So, I mean, so that's good, but that's obviously with the support and the buff from the Vegeta and Trunks active skill. But considering he is unable to get that finishing blow, and wow, look at that, even World Tournament Goku Black fully built up tanks for double digits against that's actually genuinely quite surprising. Because that World Tournament Goku Black, I did the initial showcase for him when he got his awakening, so obviously he wasn't link leveled, and I kind of wrote him off a little bit, right, because as I said in that video, Big Bad Bosses units without having Big Bad Bosses at level 10 obviously don't look anywhere near as impressive as they will once you have them fully link leveled. But his performance when Big Bad Bosses was only at level 1, I really didn't think he was that great, but I mean, again, he does have type advantage, but... and the buff from Vegeta and Trunks' active skill, but him tanking as a free-to-play World Tournament reward card, him tanking the Metal Cooler Core for double-digit damage is pretty good, so it's a nice little bonus for the video there. Rose looking somewhat decent, and then the World Tournament Goku Black actually being able to tank. Now, obviously, early on, he's a liability, because he's another one of those units that needs to get hit to build up defense, but yet has no, like, defensive tech, so... he could absolutely get blasted. Like in this event specifically, he could absolutely get destroyed by the Metal Cooler army in the first phase. So I think on this run in particular, I used a Whis in that first part just to make sure we could survive up until this point. I actually started this run way before I actually started doing the recording, so the end time on this particular one is going to be significantly longer than this clip actually is. But let me know what you guys think down below of STR Rose. I have to say, out of the two, when these guys released on JP, the buzz around both of them was that they weren't particularly good. But honestly, in the experience that we've had since they've come out, and using Rose in a couple of different events, my final verdict for him is that I am actually super impressed, because everything we've seen of him so far, if you go back and watch the videos that I've done of his like initial showcase, him versus Cell Max, all of that stuff is him on a 170 lead with like a subpar, you know, partner. So when we finally get that 200% team for all the Zamasus and Goku Blacks, and like a new top tier partner, obviously Global doesn't have the EZA for tech, LR, Goku Black and Zamasu, and that rotation, him and them together, goes pretty hard. But yeah, STR Rose definitely very good. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.